Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Hello, I'm Camille Whitworth. I will be your mistress of ceremonies for the afternoon. On behalf of the City of New Orleans Department's employees, welcome to the State of the City Address. Today, we are joined by elected officials, department directors, and community leaders, as well as residents. It has been one heck of a year, as you can imagine, and as we have all experienced. So without further ado, I would like to welcome to the podium Pastor Patricia Watson with an opening prayer.
Good evening. I'm extremely honored to be on this very critical prayer assignment. The Bible tells me that the effectual, fervent prayers of the righteous avail it much. Not perfect, but righteous. So before we begin, let us honor the memory of the first man who held an historical position in our city. Let us remember Attorney Jason Cantrell in a moment of silence. The scripture reminds us in 1 Thessalonians 5:17 through 18, that we should always pray. It goes on to say, not for everything, but in everything. Give thanks. On the strength of those words, let us bow our heads. Lord, we thank you for this gathering on today. Open our hearts and our minds to receive your presence. We have come before you at this hour, perhaps at a time of uncertainty, perhaps at a time of uneasiness, not just as a city, not just as a state, not just as a country, but even in our own personal lives, there are crises all around us. Lord, I ask for godly intervention, godly interception of the things you can only handle. Give us the spirit of more than conquerors, such that we dismantle the negative mindsets and prejudices that lurks among us. Rid us of hatred, covetousness, envy, and strife. Create in each of us a clean heart, renew in each of us a right spirit to deconstruct racist tactics and private agendas that are orchestrated in secret places. Rid us of selfishness, rid us of anger, rid us of divisiveness. Fill us with hope, peace, joy, and kindness in our personal lives, such that we can transfer these virtues within and all around our dear city. Lord, show us that we do not lack resources, we lack togetherness. Lord, I lift up our Mayor LaToya Cantrell, the mayor of this great city of New Orleans. Give her the spirit of Nehemiah to finish strong in spite of the Sanballats and Tobiases who have come up against her. Nehemiah said, for those of you who don't know, I'm doing a good work and I refuse to come down. Keep her strong, keep her focused, keep her mind stayed on thee. Keep her in perfect peace as she keeps her mind stayed on you, Lord God. Give this administration, the City Council, her staff, consultants, intentional direction to address, to support, to improve, and to eliminate the disparities facing our most vulnerable families. Heal our children, Lord God. Heal our families. Heal our city. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Pat. At this time, we'd now like to welcome KIPP New Orleans High School's regional choir under the direction of Jessica Harvey, who will sing My Life is in Your Hands.
the morning. Troubles they don't last always. For there's a friend in Jesus who will wipe your tears away. And if your heart is broken, just lift your hands and sing. Oh, I know that I can make it. I know that I can stand. No matter what may come my way, my life is in your hands. With Jesus I can take it. With him I know I can stand. No matter what may come my way, my life is in your hands. So when your tests and trials, they seem to get you down, and all your friends and loved ones are nowhere to be found. Remember there's a friend in Jesus who will wipe your tears away. And if your heart is broken, just lift your hands and say, oh, I know that I can make it. I know that I can stand. No matter what may come my way, my life is in your hands. With Jesus I can take it. With him I know I can stand. No matter what may come my way, my life is in your hands. I know that I can make it. I know that I can stand. No matter what may come my way, my life is in your hands. With Jesus I can take it. With him I know I can stand. No matter what may come my way, my life is in your hands. My life is in your hands. My life is in your hands. My life is in your hands.
Great job. Give it up for him.
Where you going? All right. Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, did they send a message? And right on time. Right on time. Thank you. Thank you. As you all know, this has been a heck of a year since we stood before you this time last year. Some amazing and spectacular things have been happening all over the city, and all due to your leadership and the leadership of your administration. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to welcome our esteemed mayor, Mayor LaToya Cantrell, to deliver the State of the City Address.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you all just so very much for being here. But let's give it up one more time. Jessica Harvey, our young people, our unified choir that was here, please give it up for them. Yeah, Kip, thank you. You're doing a great, thank you so much. It was more than fitting, and thank you for recognizing that, Miss Camille, and thank you so much, Pastor Watson, Miss Pat, Reverend Pat. Thank you. You're always so supportive at every turn and at every stage, and I appreciate you, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you as well. Welcome. I've said my thank yous for you all for being here, but I have to recognize my senior team, senior leadership that's present. You're representing over 4,000 city employees that show up every day. I want to say thank you so much, and you need to give it up for them as well. Thank you. The members of our New Orleans City Council, thank you for being here. Absolutely. Community leaders that also include our youth leadership that's in this beautiful, beautiful space this evening. Thank you so much for being here. Members of the press, thank you again for being here in the media. But most importantly, what this really shows by your presence is a commitment to collaboration and demonstrating, one, your dedication to working together, because that's the only way that we're going to continue to do the work, serving our people, getting things done. Gallier Hall, you know, it turned 170 years old this year. And I'm so grateful, one, to be having this state of the city here, but we have just opened up Gallier Hall in so many ways over the past 5.5 years to let people understand that this is their place. I want to thank the leadership under Miss Lisa Alexis, Cultural Economy, who maintains Gallier Hall, thank you so much, and they just make sure that it's just open for all of us to use. And you know, 1853 it was built, and it was City Hall, kind of like the seat of government for this city prior to moving to Perdido Street where City Hall is now. I also wanted to just give a little shout out to our historic restoration team for Gallier Hall, and that is really led under the leadership of Mr. Mark Romick. They manage the resources, the fund that we utilize to ensure that we can continue to invest in Gallier Hall. So thank you for that. You know, I was thinking about this phrase that was coined by Laura Thatcher Ulrich. And she said, well-behaved women seldom make history. And I've had the real fortune to see this in action by my mother. My mother, Etta Williams, who is here with me this afternoon, flew in from LA this afternoon and who is here. Yeah. You know, my mother demonstrated how to work through barriers and really set the stage, and she became one of the first women who took part in the National Welfare to Work program, and became one of the first in the city of LA to utilize that program. And as a result of that, she served Orange County Social Services for over 35 years. Regardless of the barriers that were in her way, It was that hard work, that grit, that dedication, that she demonstrated, and I learned from it in a very real way. So thank you again, Mama. And you know, out of that hard work, she did produce the first woman to lead the city of New Orleans in its 300-year history. And listen, and I'll be the first to say that while I am in no way perfect, I do my job and I deliver results on behalf of the residents and for the city of New Orleans every day. And no matter the type of day, good or bad, challenges or crises, or who said what, or who said nothing at all. But I do this right along with the hardest working people that I know, serving in city government, and I have to give it right back to the over 4,000 city employees that, again, do the job. And just like them, my life happens while doing the job. And also happens while balancing the burdens and sacrifices of serving, answering that call to serve. One of our leaders, Mr. Walton, Arthur Walton, shared with me. He said, breaking the glass ceiling leaves more scars than taking the elevator. And he's right about it. One of our youth participating in our Pathways program asked me on this past Tuesday, as I was visiting with them and listening and sharing with them, as I do, cohort 11 now. She asked me, how have I been impacted by all of the attention, whether it's personal attacks, negativity, or biased media attention and the like? Have I been impacted? And I responded to her and I said, absolutely, yes, I have. I've experienced trauma in ways that I realize, and also trauma in ways that I have not. But just like those hard-working city employees. But I also understand that I must address my trauma, and I will. But at this moment, I have to do what I've always done. Stay focused on doing the job. Stay focused on delivering results for the people that we collectively serve. So I want to say thank you again. I cannot thank you enough to, again, the hardest working people in city government. And those who have made sure, now Camille, you mentioned, oh, we had a tough year. You know, we've been at this job for 5.5 years as a team. It'll be 6 years in May of 2024. And out of that whole 5.5 years, it's been this team that has faced challenges. In order to fix them, we have maintained our assets. We have been prudent in our practices. We have been sound and solid in our spending and managing the purse. We have made sure that we have a fund balance greater than we've ever seen in our history. And that's by, again, doing the work, but being very intentional about how we do the work. And it matters. And again, I say thank you. But doing this work has led us to, one, being able to invest very heavily and invest in ways that are unprecedented and even historical. But I'm going to share this. Less than 10 days on the job. And that came in May of 2018. And less than 10 days on the job, Mother's Day, I was picked up from my home in a high water vehicle because 5.5 inches had fallen in 2.5 hours. And we took on flood water in Broadmoor. Now, coming onto this job, whether it's 7 months, leading a transition team and having completed that work, or having served in the New Orleans City Council for 6 years or even 12 years as a community leader, ensuring that the city of New Orleans recovered stronger, but being that example at the grassroots level that's now being taught at the Kennedy School of Government, But it was that work, but also being picked up by that high water vehicle, which told me firsthand that I knew that my tenure to serving as mayor would be in crisis management and also focusing on addressing our old, age, crumbling, failing infrastructure once and for all. Did not hesitate. Hit the ground running in that regard, working with the business community, making sure that we got our fair share, working with our state legislature, our state delegation and the like, and we delivered unprecedented resources to this city, even when people told us it couldn't be done. But because of it, some great things are underway in our city. Whether that is the West Complex Power Plant with the Sewage and Water Board, that's under construction right now. It is set to be delivered, we know, in 2025, but it's something tangible that will ensure that this city can live better with water, having the power and the redundancy necessary to pump water out. But this is a critical investment that had to happen. And the transition team that was comprised relative to infrastructure, this was their #1 priority, and we are getting that done. It also speaks to the joint infrastructure road recovery plan that we have going on. Now, we have been able to manage hundreds of millions of dollars that were initially allocated in 2016, but when we came in, less than 1% of these resources were spent. But we didn't look back, we looked forward. And today, well over 50% of these projects have been completed, with more than 49 in queue, and that will represent over $600 million that we will activate and spend in the year of 2024. This doesn't happen just because. It takes leadership, it takes partnership. And Joe, I'll talk about our infrastructure team, and this is under the leadership of Mr. Joe Threat, who's doing a yeoman's job, but most importantly, working with our partners at the state level with GOSEP, working with the federal government, ensuring, again, that these dollars don't go away. We had to demonstrate in real time to the federal government that we would get these projects to notice to proceed, and because of that work, we've been granted the extensions that we've requested for these dollars that go beyond 2026, and even relative to ARPA money that I know that I worked tirelessly firsthand for a direct allocation. That deadline has been extended as well, but also the public doing something unprecedented. Passing a $500 million bond sale, that is again unprecedented, but we're putting these resources to work. It takes all of this to do this work. This also speaks to I keep having to put this plan in here, and I already know my passcode, if you will. But this also speaks to other initiatives relative to infrastructure. The stalled service cuts are being addressed. Smart meters are being installed. Now, this is a 3-year process, but this will once and for all eliminate the issues with billing. No more estimations will be required. And again, this is underway right now. The future of this city is bright because of it. This also speaks to how we're learning how to live with water, ensuring that our green infrastructure projects are getting done. We recently cut the ribbon on the Marabou Water Garden here this week. Oak Park will be, broke ground on Marabou. We'll be cutting the ribbon on Oak Park on tomorrow. But again, getting these green infrastructure projects are imperative, again, to us living with water, but the city of New Orleans is getting it done. 8 additional green infrastructure projects will be completed in the year of 2024. And again, this speaks to over, and it goes back to $600 million that we are activating and even above that. What I also want to share is that we have been benefiting from an influx of federal dollars as well, meaning grant money that we have received over the past year. So whether that is $8 million that we have received from the U.S. Forestry for our urban canopy, ensuring that we're planting thousands of trees, dealing with our urban heat. You know that we had to, and I had to sign the first emergency declaration relative to heat as the mayor of the city of New Orleans, but in the history of the city of New Orleans. This also speaks to the $1.3 million that we've activated to invest in our Bienvenue Wetlands project, again, learning how to live with water in the city of New Orleans. In addition to that, $55 million was allocated to our partner Entergy to ensure that we focus on stabilizing and reinvesting in our grid. It matters relative to our distribution lines as well. Unprecedented in the city of New Orleans. This also speaks to the $250 million that the state of Louisiana is receiving to ensure that we have resilient hubs throughout our state, with one of them being in the city of New Orleans. This $250 million could not have been realized without the work and the legwork already completed by the administration. So again, we are doing the job. We are getting good things done. Give it up for that. I don't know what's going on with this. And I have to say, you know, everyone working in collaboration has been a true, not only a partner, but has taken and should take the credit, because we are really all in this together as it relates to building a better New Orleans, one that's cleaner, one that's greener, and surely ensuring the future is bright for our young people who we know were born in this whole climate change era. It's a reality for them, and it's going to be through them that we do the work, but we cement their future in this city. Also, as it relates to public safety, which is our approach always looking through the lens of public health. That holistic approach is the way to go, and it is paying dividends in our city. The men and women of the New Orleans Police Department are the best at what they do, and they're showing us daily that by us investing in them resources and showing that we care about their safety, that we can see today that the safety of our residents, let me tell you, we're on the right track. It's a huge win. Violent crime cut by 21%. Homicides down by 24%. This isn't just because. It's not about a stroke of luck. It's because our officers are showing up, they're on the ground, and they're working in partnership with all law enforcement agencies, relative to our state partners, our federal partners, everyone doing what it takes to get the job done. And I have to say, please give it up for the men and women of the New Orleans Police Department. Yeah. Thank you for that. And we know that this work has started, and it began under the leadership of our former Superintendent Sean Ferguson. It was carried forward with our partner Chief Pichardo, in addition to our interim Superintendent Michelle Woodfork. Please, let's give it up for them as well. And NOPD is now under permanent leadership of our Superintendent, Miss Ann Kirkpatrick. Thank you so much for answering the call. She's been on the job 60 days. She's hit the ground running. And you know what? I am more confident than I've ever been. You have embraced our process in terms of being a holistic approach to fighting violent crime, but investing in our people as well. And you've been working collaboratively with all of our partners, and that being one, our New Orleans Health Department, Dr. Jennifer Vegno. I want to give her a shout out as well. You know, force multipliers that the City of New Orleans has been able to activate. The Mobile Crisis Intervention Unit. We received over 1,400 calls. 84% of those calls are transmitting our residents. So that means that we're meeting people where they are. We're getting them to the services that they need. And 34% of those calls are 911 calls. So that means, again, we're addressing the need, we're getting people the help that they need, but we're also lifting the burden off of our hardworking men and women of NOPD. On yesterday, we launched the Trauma Center with UMC, again, our partners relative to violence interruption. $2.4 million we've administered relative to our Crime Victims Assistance Formula grants. And this will be in partnership with nonprofit organizations that are working with our victims because, one, they matter, and we need to ensure that they get the services that they need so that they can regain trust and also regain their lives. Because, you know what, it does impact them, but it also impacts each and every one of us. This also speaks to victim services in terms of domestic violence that we know that we'll continue to invest in. It matters. But this work is also in consultation with our Juvenile Justice Intervention Center. We're making sure that quality care is being rendered to young people that are in our care. It matters. But in addition to that, we're now making sure that those young people that are at JJIC, they also have opportunity to real work experience. And that's being made possible by Workforce, Job One, Ms. Sune Villavaso. I see you in the room, and I say thank you. I also have to give it up, too, for our partners, our juvenile court judges, of course, those who work with us at every single level, whether it's adults or juveniles. I have to say our DA, all of our courts, both criminal, I mentioned juvenile, have just been working together. And again, this is contributing to the cut in violent crime that we're seeing on the ground. In addition, the Mayor's Office of Youth and Families has been very intentional about making sure that we're engaging young people directly, as well as families holistically through youth engagement. Whether it's the Pathways program that I mentioned, this is working with our young people that have either touched the line or even crossed the line, but we're making sure that they are staying on the right path, and that's why this program is so successful. Now, as I mentioned, our 11th cohort, with 98% of our kids pivoting to doing the right thing. The evening reporting centers, thank you so much, Pastor Watson, doing a great job with the Family Center of Hope, making sure again that we're meeting our young people where they are. The Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, we have some of our leaders in the room. Thank you so much. The Junior Civic Leadership Academy, administered by Neighborhood Engagement, again, making a huge difference. Mayor for a Day, that's making a difference as well. The Mayor's Youth Employment Program, putting to work more young people in the history of the City of New Orleans. This year alone, we had some stumbling blocks in regards to getting everyone paid on the front end, but on the back end, everyone was made whole. And next year, it's going to be bigger and better than before because we have to continue to invest in our young people. It does matter, and I just want to say thank you again for making this possible. Job One, members of the New Orleans City Council, and all departments that have given our young people real opportunity, real work experience opportunity. As I say to my daughter, I've been working since 14. She'll be 16 on tomorrow, and I got to give a shout out to my baby. Yeah, I do. You know, my daughter keeps me straight in every way. I say that she's my biggest supporter and even my worst critic. She's turning 16. She was born in the community, handed off to a community leader. I think, Anna Maria, that was you when she was 3 weeks old. And even in the council floor at 6, I remember her telling a lobbyist who told her to tell your mother to vote no on a smoking ban. She said, my mother's voting for the smoking ban. He said, wow, what are you teaching your child? I say, how to lead and be strong. But kids have a voice. Kids have a voice. And I have to say that because not just raising one of my own, but it is also why I just give all that I have to the young people in our city and listening to them. And because we've been listening to them, it really birthed Thrive Kids. Now, our young people have been telling us over and over again that mental health services is something that they need as well, that they found a void in their own lives and in their own families. And we've listened. And that's why Thrive Kids, we put $10 million in partnership with the council, $10 million over a 3-year period, investing in them, allowing them to have access to mental health care services in partnership with Children's Hospital and young people that are attending public school throughout the city of New Orleans. Again, unprecedented. We're doing the work. We're moving this forward, and it matters. You'll keep hearing me say that. Economic development. I'm going to pivot here. Now, I've said in the past that nothing stops a bullet like a job, and that remains true. So while Job One has been working very hard to get our residents skilled up so that they are ready to work for jobs of the future, which are jobs right now in green infrastructure, in advanced manufacturing, in renewable energy platforms. It really goes on and on. This isn't pie in the sky. It's actually happening and unfolding before our eyes right here in our own city. You know, rockets in this country are built in the city of New Orleans. They come through this city to the rest of this country. NASA is in our backyard. NASA is in this room with us this afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. And this is also why I wanted to work very diligently with NASA and even MSY so that we can have a real interactive displays in our airport, which is world-class, which is #1 twice in a row, going on 3rd in a row. Thank you for that leadership, Mr. Kevin Dolio and our staff. Yep. But we put in place one exhibit and even more to come, because the goal behind that is that we need to let the world know what we're doing in the city of New Orleans. They have a real understanding of that. But we need to have that same level of understanding. And so while that interactive display is in NASA, it's sending the message again to locals that this is here for you, that we're creating jobs, not for those to come in, but for people who live here right now, real jobs. We're also focusing on technology, bioscience, rebuilding and investing in our bio district. I'm telling you, this is going to be transformative for this city, not just relative to making sure that our people are building transferable wealth, but also ensuring that our downtown is revitalized in ways that we have never seen before. Playing to our strengths, absolutely, in regards to tourism, but it's even more than that. In regards to ensuring that our economic advancements, that we're leading in this. So I want to thank LSU and Tulane University for investing in downtown, Xavier University as well. The best truly is yet to come, and the leadership of our DDD. I see you, Mr. Gregory Curtis, who is our chair of DDD, and Mr. Davon Barber, who leads as our director of the Downtown Development District. We're seeing more investments in downtown and so much more to come as we move towards 2024. This speaks to whether it's the revitalization of our riverfront, you know, breaking ground and moving forward the plans for our wharfs, Esplanade and Governor Nichols. This also speaks to that river front, the river district that we just broke ground on, and I told them then that that river district is like a gift that will keep on giving to this city for generations to come, and that's a real thing. Workforce development, it is, we can give it up for them. I know it's gotten a little bad press there, but it is worth investing in, and it's not giving the private sector a tax break. It's only on that public side, but we are also having to play to our strengths. We cannot do this alone, and we have solid partners stepping up and wanting to invest in this city, and we're not going to say go somewhere else. We're going to say stay right here, and we're going to see the investments and the fruits of our labor as we move towards 2024 and even through it. This also speaks to the workforce development through our UNO WIN Hub. I'm telling you, New Orleans is leading the way. We are leading it not only regionally, but even bringing the state of Louisiana along, right along with us. It matters. I see you, Ms. Representative Candace Newell. Thank you so much for your leadership. Yes, and all those who serving at the state level working on behalf of the city of New Orleans. This speaks to the $5 million also that we received from Chase and Advancing Cities, again, working with our small businesses, wanting to ensure that our small businesses have a real shake and a fair shake at every turn, not just relative to our infrastructure work, but building up our small businesses because they are truly the backbone of the city of New Orleans. We have Glow Propeller, which will support the talent and technology as we again develop offshore energy with hydrogen, wind. This is working in partnership relative to GNO Inc., NOLA BA. The list truly goes on. And I cannot thank enough, I didn't mention him yet, but this is a great point. As I mentioned NOLA BA, he's my CAO or our CAO, but he also leads us as our chair of NOLA BA. Thank you so much, Mr. Gilbert Montano. Yeah, Gilbert and Norm, they keep that purse string right, and I'm telling you, as I look at my council people who passed the budget, we're going to continue to be good stewards of it. So thank you. I have to, and I'm looking over at Councilman Thomas, which leads me even to, he always talks about me saying picking up cans. Absolutely, and cans that have been kicked for decades in the city of New Orleans, but under the leadership of our team, we're not only picking them up, we're seeing results. Gordon Plaza. Win, 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 win. Yes. Turning around an injustice, no doubt about it. But our team ensuring that we had a project that would allow the city of New Orleans to buy out our residents on Gordon Plaza. That's been realized, over $30 million that we were able to activate. And because of that, we will now be moving forward with a solar farm that will be erected, acquisition that is also forthcoming, that will ensure that we have additional redundancy of power relative to keep this city safe when rain and hard rain, fast rain comes our way. Lincoln Beach. 60 years almost in the making, for the first time in over 6 decades. Let me tell you, we're getting it done. We had a press conference on Lincoln Beach, $24.6 million that we have been able to activate. Again, the hard work of all of our collected teams, but working with the community, listening to the community, who are the world's greatest experts on where they live. We're bringing back Lincoln Beach, and we're bringing it back better than it's ever been before. Yep. And we're going to make sure that property owners adjacent to Lincoln Beach, see, this will be catalytic. They will now be able to reinvest in their properties, and again, investing in the city of New Orleans. This is what it's all about. Six Flags, dormant for over 16 years, breathing real life back into it, listening to our New Orleans East residents, but most importantly, listening to all of the residents in the city of New Orleans about that Six Flags site. Thank you to I see you over there, Ms. Brenda Bro, Nora, thank you for your leadership, your guidance there, but we're making sure that Six Flags, we selected Bayou Phoenix, and we're going to work with them every step of the way so that, again, we realize the vision set by the residents of this city. Municipal Auditorium. Yep. Won't forget that one. Yep. And you know, I had my eyes on Municipal Auditorium because this city had over $30 million that we had to spend that was allocated by FEMA or it would go away. And you know that Municipal Auditorium had been sitting dormant again for a mighty long time. But it's been our team that is breathing real life back into Municipal while working with the residents. Save our souls, they're working with us firsthand, and we're now being able to move forward, restoring Municipal Auditorium, but also with a plan in place, that it comes back. It comes back bigger and stronger, and we're going to put over $38 million of FEMA dollars into it, but additional resources that were garnered from the city as well. And I have to mention this after Municipal. The land swap that we were able to just complete. Now, this was a long time coming, and many other administrations tried, but we were able to get it done. And the land swap involves Duncan Plaza and the state-owned land that was adjacent to it. We were able to work with our state delegation, and I have to again give a shout-out to Ms. Candace Newell, who was boots on the ground with this, making sure that we were able to pull it off. We were able to do that, and now I'm going to turn to my partners on the New Orleans City Council, my team, so that we can lead the efforts for a new city hall that we need, built for the city of New Orleans. We need that. We do. Yep. And a new city hall has never been about, for me, about a legacy project or a feel-good project. It's really been about a quality work environment that our employees need to work in, but also a quality environment that our residents can come to seek the services that they need. City Hall, where it is now, and I've always said this, the building, we know that it is inadequate. When we faced Hurricane Ida and we lost power for over 3 weeks in the city, our dedicated and hardworking city employees showed up every single day. Our EOC is on the 9th floor. We walk 9 flights of stairs. I don't know how many times a day, but we did it. And my daughter would say, if Colonel ever can do it, anybody can do it. And Colonel was doing it Colonel more times than I think anybody. So I want to say thank you to Colonel, because he's always said, listen, we have to invest in our biggest asset, and that's our people. So, City Hall, it will also give us an opportunity to realize buildings that we own, meaning assets that we have, and utilize them in a way that creates revenue streams for our city, revenue that we can depend on literally for generations to come. We cannot always look to raising property taxes for our residents or homeowners to pay. We have to look at diversifying ways to not only create revenue streams, but to have them live with this city for a mighty long time. So what I mean by that is the best and highest use, even as where City Hall sits now, it's not a city hall. It can be something else, a lease development deal that again brings revenue recurring to this city. As I look at other buildings, even that we have to lease out because we need adequate space, a new city hall will give us the opportunity to get out of these leases and ensure that those resources are reinvested in our people in ways that they can see that they matter and that they can see that we care. It does. This is a big deal. So I'm going to give a shout out for that. Now I'm going to pivot now to quality of life, and if you haven't caught on, I'm really touching on the priorities that have been presented by the residents of this city, that have been ratified by a budget that was proposed to the New Orleans City Council, recently passed by the New Orleans City Council, and will really set the stage for how we move forward in the year of 2024. What has been very near and dear to them is quality of life as well. Code enforcement. unprecedented $10 million investment in code enforcement that is showing dividends, and it's showing a return on our investment even in 2023. But as we move into 2024, Mr. Thomas Mulligan, thank you so much for your leadership. Yes, his whole team, Anthony Davis, our new director of code enforcement. But you all have been doing a yeoman's job collectively, Winston Reed, with blighted properties, knocking them down, demolishing properties, when we also understand that all blight isn't created equal. So we're working still with residents who want to rebuild their homes and being very intentional about how we do that. And again, putting and getting these properties back on the tax rolls will bring more revenue to the city of New Orleans. Homelessness, this has also been a priority for residents as well as our administration. Mr. Nathaniel Fields, Nate, I don't see you, but I tell you, Nate has been doing a great job with a small team, working on behalf of all of us, working on the ground with our unsheltered population. We have just decommissioned one encampment with more to come. But you know what? We have to dignify people in our response, and we're doing that. But we're also focusing on affordable housing. We know that we have to. And we have a great team under the leadership of Ms. Tyra Brown Johnson. Where are you? I see you, Ms. Tyra. She and her team have been able to leverage millions of resources coming from HUD to ensure that we activate and put more housing, affordable housing units on the ground. In 2024, we have our eyes set on over 1,400 units that will be activated and put back and bringing back into commerce. So thank you again, Tyra, for that. And you know, so much is being done in all of the areas that I touched on. You know, I just saw Dr. Kelly. I'm looking at you, Dr. Kelly, and I want to say thank you so much for your leadership relative to our crime lab. You understand that we are a city that's leading the nation in what is being developed right here in the city of New Orleans, getting accreditation recently and then moving forward to secure accreditation relative to our DNA. Let me tell you, the city of New Orleans is in good hands with Dr. Kelly. Give it up. And also, and tell my little nephew, your son, he has really made the transition very well, and I want to see him in the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council or in the Junior Civic Leadership Academy, so thank you so much. Now, I've said I know a lot, and there's been so many things that I can share, meaning even more things. And we will be getting out, I would say, all of the accomplishments that will go out to the public as we did in 2023. We're going to do the same in 2024. We're going to make sure that there are no issues relative to who gets it or even what picture shows up on it. The bottom line is it's about showing the work. And action, it inspires hope. And that's what I want to continue to do as your mayor, inspire hope. And that's also why we led today with our young people. It all goes back to who the future leaders will be of this city. But make no mistake about it. You know, when you're serving in roles like I am, whether it's me, city council, just an elected leadership, you have a start date and you have an end date. And what that means, I know to me, is that time, it matters. You have to use every moment of time to get things done. We can't use time to create barriers because we got to do the job. And we have a short period of time to do the job. But also, we have to make sure that the people who are on the ground doing the job continue to show up every single day, regardless of our challenges or even regardless of our good times. But what we demonstrate when we show them that we care about them, we're paving the way to build our capacity for future workforce, so that we can attract more people who want to work in government. It only happens because of people. And I'm looking at one. Miss Mary Pettingale. Thank you for that. And that's not what Mary wanted. I know she didn't. She said, I just want to go out. I just want to go out. But Miss Mary has been serving the city of New Orleans for over 35 years. But Miss Mary has served 5 mayors, and I'm one of them. And like I was told coming in office, don't get rid of Mary. Yep, they were right. And Mary said, I'm gonna give you a term, and then she came on back. But what we do within this administration is understanding time and how to use and utilize time. And how when people give it, they give it their all. And it's time that they'll never get back. But also understanding that we have to groom others to pick up the torch and to carry it further. We have to ensure that the institutional knowledge is truly passed on. And so we were able to identify, I call it Mary 2.0. And we identified a Miss Wendy Baquet. And that was over, I would say, less than 2 years ago, because we knew that Mary, again, would be retiring. But we wanted to make sure that we invested in what we knew future administrations would need and future mayors would need. Because it's not about LaToya Cantrell in my time, but it is about me making the best use of this time to set this city up for generations to come. And as I've told my team and even the people of this city, what we do and over the next 4, 5 years and what we've done will literally determine where this city will be in the next 50 years. These are unprecedented times. And it's not just like a normal transition even from one mayor to the next. You have to think about the resources that we were able to bring in. Those deadlines extend beyond us. So it requires good stewardship. It requires good leadership even coming after we have done our time. And so if nothing else, I want you all to know that the future of the city of New Orleans is bright. And if we continue to invest in one another, if we continue to lift up the good in one another, if we push away any barriers that those may want to throw in our way, we have to keep going. But this is our time to do so. It is. You can't make it up. You just can't. You don't get the time back, but you absolutely can pave the way forward. So the best is yet to come in the city of New Orleans, but it only can come through us. And I have to say this, anytime the city of New Orleans gets greater recognition for the work that we're doing globally, we have to do better locally. We do. We do. Because as soon as you go outside of the city, they're highlighting and talking about everything that I just mentioned and more. They see it not only as the future of the city of New Orleans or the state of Louisiana, they see it as models for not just the nation, but for the world. They see us adapting to climate in ways, again, that we can teach other cities. We're doing that. So this is our time, and I make a plea to the media. You can help us in this regard. When you talk about challenges, you can. When you talk about challenges, you also have to talk about and should talk about the work and the progress that's getting done, because you have a responsibility to tell the true truth. But when you tell half-truths, you make it harder for the men and women that we depend on to do the job, and it can even be discouraging. So what I say, please, tell the true truth. No one is against that. No one. But we have to tell the whole story. And when we have even Spike Lee in the city of New Orleans right now, working on the 20-year after Hurricane Katrina, it will be a 2-part series on Netflix. He will be interviewing those who he interviewed prior to, but he will also be looking at how the city of New Orleans has bounced back, how the city of New Orleans has gotten it right, how the city of New Orleans is investing in her people, how the city of New Orleans understands the place that she has not only in this country, but what her place is in this world. So I ask you to join in on this and be the real example about demonstrating the power of this city that's rooted in the culture of this city. Culture, we know, is our economy. And Lisa Alexis, I didn't overlook you at all in regards to our culture. And we're investing more in our people than any other administration ever. For the first time, directly into the cultural community, over $10 million in 2 years, even $7 million with the city council giving the culture. Yeah. So I have to end on this, and I know that I do, but it's all rooted and grounded in the culture of the city of New Orleans, which oozes out of the streets, and only possible by the residents of this great city. So God bless you. God bless the city of New Orleans. Happy holidays, and Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. Thank y'all. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.